What happens when you take two serious anglers, drop them on an unknown body of water, and give them a mission to conquer the lake and each other?
Ooh, that's a big fish. Oh, beauty!
Two different patterns, one unknown lake, with no practice and no preparation. Who will catch the most fish and how? The only way to find out is to go commando. The mission is simple. Two experienced anglers. Two different battle plans. Going head to head on one unfamiliar body of water. Steve Pennaz takes us to the front line of fishing to learn the lessons of the Lake Commandos. The right rod, reel, line, and bait are all key ingredients to a successful day on the water. But a Lake Commando knows there is no substitute for experience and research, especially when exploring unknown waters.
Steve, I got the information on the lake on the iPad.
Yeah.
It's 737 acres.
Oh, good size, yeah.
Natural lake, so no rivers or streams coming in. The maximum depth is 75 feet.
75?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be that deep.
What's
but
water clarity?
8 to 9 feet. So it's going to be clear.
But no matter how much you learn through research, that map can't tell you everything. And that's a lesson Commandos Steve Pennaz and Berkley Senior Marketing Manager Hunter Cole are about to find out as they take on today's mission, locating and catching post-cold front largemouth bass.
So have you got a pattern figured out yet?
I do have a pattern,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to tell you.
You know, the big question for me today is this weather. We had that big front come through last night. Temperatures dropped over 20 degrees. I'm in short sleeves. I doubt I'm going to be fishing in short. It's getting colder. Here's the ramp. There's no dock here.
Today when we got to the ramp and I saw it, I knew we were going to have a little bit of problem getting in.
Holy cow! Are we going to get stuck?
No, I think you're okay. It's not mud, it's strong rock and sand.
All right, here we go. Not only was there no dock, there was no water. It was so low that the water was below the concrete portion of the ramp. I still thought we could get the boat in with four-wheel drive. Are you floating?
Not quite, a little bit more.
Holy cow.
Oh my gosh, Steve, it's like right here is this deep. The crazy thing was we actually got the boat in, but then all the prop wash area, it was only about that deep. So I knew we weren't going to get in.
It won't budge. You know, this is an unexpected complication. The water is so low here. There's been a drought situation. The lake's down. The problem is there's so much power loading on these ramps that it's actually gets shallower as we try to get further out. And if I go off the sand, the truck gets, it's going to get stuck.
All right, well, why don't you just take your pants off then and kind of push the boat sideways off out there, and I'll sit here and be ready to go.
Let's just say today is not going as planned. We pull up to the first lake and we can't even get the boat in the ramp. Now here's a lake that's 75-foot maximum depth, but with the drought we're having, it's just been too shallow and we had to go to plan B.
Nothing like flying all day yesterday to come meet with you and not even been able to put the boat in the water. Jeepers.
This
Hey,
never happened, but this drought up here is just, I mean, this is just stunning. The good news is there's a lot of other lakes around here. The question is, which one do we go to?
We just hit the road and we started driving and we picked one that we thought would work, but and then got on our little iPhone to figure out the depths and the water clarity. Maximum depth is 19 feet.
Wow.
Yep.
This lake is completely different than the one we were just considering that had 75 foot of water depth.
Crystal clear.
Yeah, now we're looking at a shallow, probably weedy, eutrophic type lake.
Well, I think the fish are going to be affected more by the cold front, but we'll just have to adjust and see what we can do.
We picked a lake that has special regulations catch and release only bass fishing, very popular lake, very highly regarded in the area from what I've heard. We get there, it's not only a cold front, it's got a massive algae bloom. I have never seen a lake of this color ever. Huh.
Wow, that's
the tale of two cities, isn't it?
It really is.
The Lake Commandos have overcome a major setback in today's plan, and they finally found a suitable background. Now, can they find a few fish? Lake Commandos is brought to you by Abu Garcia for Life, Trilene, Anglers Trust Berkley Trilene, Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time, Spider Wire, nothing gets away, and by Fish Hound, when to go, where to go, what to throw. The Lake Commandos are rolling with the bass fishing punches today. Super low water and an unmanageable boat ramp left the Commandos lakeless when the day began. But that's not enough to keep a commando from his mission, especially a guy like Hunter Cole, who has seen and done it all in the fishing industry. Hunter spent nearly 20 years working with Bass and ESPN and is an accomplished tournament angler in his own right. Now he is the Senior Marketing Manager of PR and Media for Berkley, Spider Wire, Abu Garcia, and a number of other major tackle companies. So a little thing like finding a new lake and completely changing the game plan is no big deal for Hunter Cole. Here are the details on the new battleground. At only 384 acres, it is a relatively small body of water, and it is also very shallow, with a max depth of only 19 feet. It is an extremely eutrophic or fertile lake, with weed growth only out to about 7 feet. And an early fall algae bloom has water clarity down to less than a foot. However, habitat is off the charts, with plenty of submergent and emergent weeds, and stands of flooded timber along most of the shoreline. Cover is also abundant in the form of heavy submerged weed clumps, underwater logs and stumps, and a very distinct weed line throughout the lake between 7 and 8 feet. There is also no shortage of good forage here, with strong populations of yellow birch, golden shiners, white suckers, and juvenile bluegills. Post-cold front conditions will be a challenge, with air temps in the low 70s and water temps in the high 60s. Skies are partly to mostly cloudy and winds are strong and gusting. That's the battleground the Lake Commandos are facing, and we're about to find out their plan of attack. But we also want to know how you would fish it, so let us know online.
I'm going to fish a havoc bait. It's a new Mike Iaconelli designed havoc bait called a subwoofer, and it's kind of like a swimming worm. The equipment I'm going to be using today is an Abu Garcia Veritas 7-foot medium heavy rod. I've got a Revo Premier reel spool with 17-pound Trilene 100% fluorocarbon. I thought we were going to be fishing in a much clearer lake, so that's why I had the fluorocarbon, but I think it's going to still work just as well. Now on the Havoc subwoofer, just your basic Texas rig, 3/8 ounce slip sinker, and a 4/0 hook, and got it kind of pegged just so where we can get it through the weeds. This is going to be a fun day. It's going to be a competitive day. We've had a few curveballs thrown at us, but we're ready to go.
I'm going to fish a Carolina rig. Why? Because I can fish it fast, I can fish it in this wind. It's not a precision presentation, but it does allow me to fish relatively fast and cover a lot of water. I'm going to fish the Carolina rig today on a 7-foot Abu Garcia Veritas rod. This is a 7-foot medium heavy. I've got it loaded with 14-pound Trilene XT. For the bait today, I'm going to fish a havoc bait called a Pit Boss. It was designed by Skeet Reese. It's a great creature type bait. It's got a lot of movement. I'm running a relatively short leader, about 3 feet. I might end up shortening this. I've got a 1/4 ounce weight. I know that seems a little bit light, but I want to fish it through the grass and not bury it in the grass. So I've got mono for a main line, 14-pound mono. Ideally, I'd be fishing braid, but I had rigged for the other lake, and we'll see. I'm going to keep the cast relatively short, and even with the stretch, I shouldn't have any issues. One of the biggest challenges in fishing a new body of water is getting the first bite. In some lakes that have massive amounts of cover or massive structure, it can be really difficult to find fish and get that first fish to go. Today we are lucky.
Look how he clears out the algae bloom for you.
This is hideous. This lake is hideous. Nice start to the day, huh?
Absolutely.
Wow. See these stumps?
Uh-huh.
He came off of that. That's a 3-pound bass.
I enjoy competing and being out there, but this was the first where we were both competing and both using the exact same bait.
There you go, to start.
I'll just take one at this point so you don't get too far ahead of me. When we got to the second lake, Steve said he wanted to fish, or his pattern was going to be Carolina rigs, and actually that was what I had wanted to fish on the first lake, but that was because there was lots of rocks and sand, and there was no timber, there was no aquatic vegetation. So when we got to the second lake and Steve said, I want to fish a Carolina rig, I was a little perplexed on that, because we could see clumps of grass everywhere, and normally Carolina rig weights and just the whole setup doesn't work through that.
I've downsized my Carolina rig to a fairly light weight, a 3/8 ounce weight, and this bait does a great job getting through the grass. My presentation today was a Carolina rig, but it wasn't a Carolina rig in the traditional stand. We had a sinker, we had a bead, we had a swivel, we had a leader, and we had a hook. But the hook was smaller than normal, 3/8 ounce, and we went down to a quarter. Real lightweight. It was almost like a split shot rig. It was a finesse presentation for working clumps of weeds. Really had him hooked. Boy, they're chunky in this lake though, aren't they?
Yes. I'm so used to going places to where you've been before and you know the patterns that are going to work, or you know which area of the lake to go to, you know which baits to throw, and you get kind of stuck in these ruts. So today, by going out on this lake and sticking with one pattern, it forced me to fish a way that I never would have fished before.
That's nice fish. That was a heck of a jump, wasn't it?
Yes, very nice.
Gorgeous. Today I went with monofilament, the new formulation of Trilene XT. And the reason I went with it was simple. I was looking for a neutrally buoyant bait. Braid will float, and I was using too light a sinker to get the braid down. And the other thing is mono handles so easily, and today I revisited mono for the first time in a long time, and it was a really fun experience. Out there, look at this toad.
Oh man.
How big is that thing, do you think? Huh?
4.5, 5?
Oh, he's a bruiser. I'm gonna take 5. I'm gonna take 5. Look at that. Green pumpkin, purple fleck, a little bit black in there.
I gotta get re-rigged.
That's a tank.
It is.
We've already learned a big lesson from the Lake Commandos today. Never give up and always be ready to make a major change. They found a lake and they're on fish. Now we just have to find out who can put the most bass in the boat. This segment of Lake Commandos is brought to you by Yeti Coolers. Yeti, wildly stronger, keep ice longer.
Wow. A lot of times in the fall, when you do find them and the fish turn on, you can have a field day. And today, they turned on.
Nice little fish,
Yeah.
black spot.
Look at that. Oh, I got one right under the boat. Oh, you got one too?
This is my 3rd time fishing with Steve, and for the 3rd time in a row, I delivered a cold front with us. So, what's the score?
You know, I haven't even counted.
I like that even better. But each time we've had a blast, and we've still caught fish, even under some tough conditions.
Ah, yeah, baby.
You dog, you dog.
Not a giant, but I'll take him. He counts.
Bet you will.
I mean, a lake like this isn't pretty I wouldn't want to swim in here or anything, but you know, from a fish standpoint, they sure produce good numbers of fish in good size.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll concede the last
time.
minute. So tell me on your plan, what do you want to fish and how are we going to fish it?
Kind of from the original plan. Just I want to fish the Havoc subwoofer. I want to throw it out, let it sink, and then just slowly reel it back. Because Actually, I'm more excited about that because a lot of these fish today have been hitting as we're reeling the Carolina
They're
rig.
chasing.
And chasing. So
And that bait looks like it moves. I've never fished it, so what weight you want me to rig with?
1/4 ounce would be plenty.
1/4 ounce.
Yep, and just let it slide and put about a 3 or 4/0 hook in the bait. We'll be good to go.
Today, we were hampered by big winds, gusts that were going up to 40 miles an hour, and the wind was switching more to the north. So when we made the switch to the subwoofer, which was Hunter's pattern, we dealt with some issues with line bows in the line that made it really difficult to fish these bait effectively. There's one. Got him.
What is it?
It's a bass.
Little bitty guy. The mistake I made was probably not taking the first quarter or the first control of the boat as we started today. I gave that to Steve, and the wind really had not picked up at that point. So by the time it was my turn in the afternoon, the wind was howling and the trees were bending over, and you could still make a cast, you could still fill your bait, but it was a big bow in the line and we just couldn't fish it efficiently.
Hunter, I'm getting harassed by small fish. I like the technique. What are your thoughts on maybe switching to something else?
I agree, Steve. We got some good bites and it was fun fishing it, changing up a little bit, but with this wind, let's go back.
It really is fall now. The nights are cool, the leaves are changing. We see massive flocks of birds migrating now, and it's a great time to be on the water. It can also be a frustrating time to be on the water because with the conditions changing, a lot of times finding and catching fish can be difficult. You know, I wouldn't admit this to Hunter. He's back rigging again, but he was kicking my butt on the subwoofer, and I was glad when the 2 hours were over. Good fish?
Yeah, I think he is.
Nice one.
That'll work.
Yeah, it'll work. This technique is producing bigger fish today, and I think it's not because of the bait. I think it's just because we have better control under this, under these conditions. These fish are a little bit deeper, and the subwoofer, there's a bite. Oh, he dropped it. Subwoofer just wasn't, it was working offshore really well. The trouble is when we tried to work it really far offshore in the deeper stuff, the wind would catch it and we just lost bait control. And with this Carolina rig now, we just have more control and we can kind of play the odds. But Hunter was schooling me, just missed him. Hunter was schooling me pretty well on the subwoofer.
Lake Commandos is brought to you by Yamaha Marine. Reliability starts here. Johnson Fishing. Yeti Coolers. Wildly stronger. Keep ice longer. Not too kinky. No kinks ever. And by Humminbird. Simply, clearly better.
The bait we used today was called the Havoc Pit Boss. And I have to admit, I'd never fished this bait before today, and I noticed a few things. One, that the bait had great movement in the tentacles when it was moving both slow and fast. And the other thing, this bait is super tough. We'd catch 6, 8, 9, 10 fish on this bait before it would break down. I love a bait that acts like that. I don't know if I want to say this is a tough lake, but we cracked the lake today. We got the patterns down.
I agree.
I think the plan tonight should be we head back, get the boat on the ramp, and enjoy a good dinner tonight. Sound good?
Twist my arm.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. Competition was strong today. Steve did well, and I will humbly give in to him today, even though it kills me to do it.
You know, when I started today, I didn't think that we'd be ending today talking about the Pit Boss, but the Pit Boss really produced for us. It's a Havoc bait made by Berkley. It is a very inexpensive soft plastic, but this bait, I'll tell you what, this is one of the ones that we used today. Green pumpkin with purple fleck, great bait, but look at how beefy this bait is. It's a very strong bait. These tentacles are very soft. They move a lot in the water. And what we were doing is rigging them on a Carolina rig, just tossing them as far as we could, and you know, had them rigged Texas style so they were weedless. Fish it on a mono leader. We fish it on a very small, you can see just this little tiny tungsten 3/8 ounce weight. I went silent there toward the end without a bead, and really it was a finesse Carolina rig with a great bait that caught a lot of fish. The Havoc Pit Boss. Hunter, you fished a lot of lakes, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi, and South Carolina. How do they compare with some of the lakes like this?
This is just as good. I mean, obviously with the ice and the cold weather, the bass aren't going to grow as big, but as far as quality 3 and 4 pounders today, I mean, it's on par, if not better than in the South.
I'm Captain George Mitchell. This is Coastal Chaos. Nowadays, I do the majority of my pre-fishing from the couch. I'm serious. From my laptop or my smartphone, I can get all kinds of great information. Stuff like sea temperatures, tides, currents, altimetry, all kinds of good stuff to get me to the fish fast. I subscribe to a couple of online sites, Hilton's and Terrapin, excellent sources for real-time information. I also rely on my MaxSea charting program on my laptop, as well as fishing reports from fishhound.com. When you put the available information together with a pinch of catch history and a dash of local knowledge, you can generate a great game plan before hitting the water. First thing I do when I get on Hilton's is I look at the altimetry page. That gives me a place to start. Next thing I'm going to do is look at the archives. By looking at the last few days, I can see maybe a trend or a pattern developing. For areas that I've never fished before, I like to surf local fishing forums as well as diving forums, once again, looking for developing trends or patterns. Google Earth's another great tool. I poke around looking for visible stuff like tide lines, sandbar, underwater structures. It's priceless. In the old days, I could gather all the information I needed from my fishing buddies or the local newspapers. Nowadays, I can get it right here from my laptop or my smartphone.